Hey guys, it's Krystal Lucier here, also known as your Home Sweet Home 519 Realtor, Krystal Lee Moore, and this is Realtor Life, a fun and entertaining look at life in the trenches as a realtor in Ontario. So, welcome back. So happy you're here. Let's get started. Today, we're going to be talking about kind of making sure that you do take time to rest and recharge, even when it's not rest and recharge time. We're also going to talk about how sometimes desperation is the mother of invention, and that there are some different cool ways to get through the work we need to do. So let's just get started. So, firstly, talking about making sure you take the time to rest and recharge when you need it. Um, this has been so in Buffini, they talk about kind of the rest run cycle. And there's a really cool story about these sled dogs. Stay with me. So, the sled dogs, they decided like they could just run them over and over and over without a break. And that they discovered that if they did take a break and they did rest, the dogs that rested would actually go further and faster and get to the destination before the other dogs, even though they were taking a break. And the same thing like with sharpening the saw, whether you have those um, the two people and they're both like in a sawing competition. But if you don't take time to sharpen your saw, then by the end, you're putting way more effort out for really kind of substandard results versus if you had just taken time to rest and recharge. And we know that all the time. Like if you take a vacation, how much more excited, motivated, invigorated do you get when you come back? And so for me, what I try to do is in summer, and I'm putting summer in little quotation marks because in Ontario, summer is supposed to be here. Weather-wise, it's here. Real estate market-wise, we had a bit of a late spring, so we're kind of still in summer. But normally in the summer, what I try to do is just ease up a bit. So I call it my working part time. It's not really working part time. It's just making sure that if I need to sleep in, if I need to rest, if I need to do something, that I do it. And it really is for me, I kind of shift the schedule so it's not as rigid so that when it gets to September and it's like back to school time, I'm super excited to get back to it. I'm excited to see everyone. I'm excited to dress up again. I'm excited for all of that. And so that's my one of my restaurant things. Also, vacation is a big deal. Um, Now, vacation is also tricky though. You want to be careful because I find with realtors, when we're going on vacation, if we have one planned, all of a sudden there's an old adage, right? It's like if you want to get busy and you're not busy, book a vacation, you'll get busy. And it's true, out of nowhere. Like people will just come out of the woodwork and they're like, please help. And then you're trying to manage it. So you go crazy, 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 and then you go on vacation. It takes you like 2 or 3 days just to chill. And then usually a vacation typically is like a week. We try to make them a little longer now, but a week. And then when you get back, you have this mountain of work. So it really, like, whatever you take the week before and the week after you get back are really tough. So there's different things you can do. You can just accept that that's how it's going to be. I had a coach that used to kind of get me to plan for it. So knowing that I'm getting back and then making a plan, it's just know thyself, right? Like we are entrepreneurs. And so as entrepreneurs, sometimes you just really have to figure out like what is most important to you right now. So that is for the restaurant cycle. That is for the um, just making sure that the energy in your cup is full, right? Because you can't give from an empty cup. We hear it all the time, but what it really means is that if you're depleted, if you're just really just like not able to do it, but you're just doing it anyway, not only will you not have any joy and passion, you're not bringing your best self to the table and you can't compete with others or even for your clients as they're like to compete with their houses against other houses if you're not your best you. Okay. So I definitely recommend find the things that bring you joy. And it doesn't have to be a week long vacation. Maybe you can't, maybe that's not in your situation right now. But you know what you can do? You can take an afternoon and go for a walk. Are there woods, a water? Is there a friend? Do you have friends, family? Can you go for a massage? Can you go meditate, go to a yoga class, watch a funny movie? Whatever it is, that's not working. Just do something for you. Now, that leads me into the next thing. So okay, so definitely not planned. But recently I had an issue with Facebook. And now that I've had this issue with Facebook, it's kind of coming out like all these other people are having an issue too. But basically, long story short, I put something up for my coach. Somehow, someone said that I was not real. So I had to prove that I was real. I had to do this whole thing where I'm like moving my head, and I appealed it. It was supposed to take 1 day to get resolved. It's been like more than a month. And in my neighborhood, so we all do different things, but in my neighborhood, we have a Facebook group. And one of the ways that I kind of promote things in the neighborhood, or I support the neighborhood, or I show that I'm part of the neighborhood is on this Facebook group. So, of course, I'm like, what do I do? Because I always have contests. We talk about authenticity. My authentic self wants to support businesses and have contests. It has to be fun, or I don't want to do it. So, I'm like, how do I run this contest? Like, it was supposed to run for all of June, and this thing happened to me in June. So I created kind of a post. I had my husband put it up. I started using my Instagram. I have a neighborhood Instagram. Um, our Facebook page has like, I don't know, thousands of people, and the Instagram has like 350 people. So the reach was not as high. Um, our neighborhood has a Canada Day party. And because I wasn't on Facebook, which is how I usually communicate, I missed the sponsorship kind of reach out. So I had a great call with the president of the club. I'm an official member of the club now, and I was able to give a donation. And I was like, okay, so I'm still supporting. Can I have a table there? Maybe just some visibility, which kind of led to us having a table. So sponsor the party, had a table, and then we decided to do the concert in real life. So the contest in real life. That'd be funny. I'm like, and I hired a band. No, the contest. So we had ballots made up, and I hired my kids to kind of help with it. Our son did a video. Our daughter was getting people to sign up. So we had the actual ballots, and then we also had like a Google form. So we created a Google form and a QR code so people could just scan the code. Guys, gold. So I definitely recommend this. I wouldn't have done it unless I had to, but it was so much better. Not only did I get to talk to people, way more people were able to enter the contest, and the contest supports other businesses. Like, I buy gift certificates from local businesses in the neighborhood, so they get more support too. It was kind of an eye opener because I don't think I would have thought this is the way to do it unless I had to. So sometimes, I think as necessity is the mother of invention, maybe, but sorry, mom, for getting that wrong. Um, but there is a whole, um, a whole thing that was created because I had to think outside the box. Like, my normal way of doing things was not there. Much like, remember COVID, guys? Like, we're like, these cannot happen online. This can't happen, that can happen. And then it had to happen, and we all figured it out together. So that's my suggestion. If you're farm neighborhood or wherever, if there's a way for you to kind of do a sponsorship with a prize. Now, are all of these people going to buy a house from me? I don't know. It's not about that. So it really is, it's great if they can, and we'll build that relationship. But the first step to building the relationship is kind of them seeing me, knowing me, all of that. And not to mention this QR code, it used to take me like 5 minutes per person to enter them into this contest. Okay, so they'd comment, I'd go back and forth with them, I'd get all their info, I'd enter them in, blah, 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 and then we'd have to do this draw. Now, all you have to do is, it's in the form where we have the paper copies, and we're just going to cut out all the people. There's like 100 people that signed up on this QR code, cut them out. And then when we do the draw, they're all together. Woo, saved myself like 12 hours of work. So thank you, Facebook. I guess I would really still like it back, but very cool. So then, the next thing I just want to talk about is the whole, the whole thing of making sure that you are putting your best foot forward with people. So when it comes down to it, we really just want to make sure as realtors that we're doing the best we can. And so what I did, and I talked about this, I think in another episode, but a huge turning point for me this year was I was really, really getting frustrated. The market was slower. Um, and I just wasn't, my joy just seemed really depleted. And I didn't know why. And it turned out, so as a people pleaser, many of us are people pleasers. This is like, if you're listening, you're probably at like a people pleasers anonymous meeting here. Um, but we can't create environments, right? So I really had to realize like, take off the cape. Here's what I cannot control. I can't control how many people are going to come into your house. I can't control how many people are going to like your house. I can't control the offers. And I can't even control the prices that come in on offers, right? Cannot control it. So I took all of those things and I threw them away because I can't control it. What can I control? What can we control as realtors or as professionals? And this, honestly, even if you're not a realtor and you're listening to this, what can you control with your clients? You can control you, and that's it. So I can control the activities. I can control my communication, how I speak to people, the effort I'm putting out. If I'm doing ads, if I'm whatever it is, that's what I can control. Now your clients are probably feeling even more out of control because they don't know what's going on either. So the more we can bring that stress down and say, "Hey, I've got you. Let's do this together." On a level, they know that you can't control the market, but it's just important to make sure they know that you're putting every effort in to do your very best. And once I was able to make that shift, guys, it was so much easier because I don't know, it's just a huge weight got lifted off my shoulders because I can't control it. So being upset about it's not really helping. I know what I'm good at. I'm good at selling homes. I'm good at helping people with their home purchase. I'm good at bringing the stress down. I'm good at organizing and connecting and all these things. But what I'm not good at is controlling the real estate market. You can't do it. So that was really interesting. And then beyond that, I've also been trying to really lean into the joy of things. And so I love the realtor network here in London. We have great, great realtors. So what we have is people that are just they're not looking at each other as competition. Like, are we competition? Yeah, but it's not about that because there's enough business to go around. So this one team invited me to an improv class, the Miley group. Thanks, ladies. And we had seen each other at things, and I'm really excited to do deals together. But they decided to have this company called Shut the Front Door, which is an improv company in London. They decided to have them come and do a session for realtors. And it was so good because here's the thing, guys, whether you're a realtor or an entrepreneur, improv is important. You need to be able to think on your feet. I have a theater background, like way back, and film studies was almost a second major in university. I love acting, theater, all of it. But as we grow up, we don't always have a chance. Like I'm on the drama team at my church, but that happens like once every 2 months. So it was really cool just to be silly and play with other adults. Um, so cool. And I ended up signing up for classes. So I'm taking classes, I'm reading books on improv, and I'm really, really enjoying it. And I'm finding that it really translates into our business because you can bring joy into anything, into speaking, presenting, having the dialogue. And it shouldn't be just about work, guys. If every day all it is, it's work, 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 that's not a life. And no one's going to get to the end of that life and be like, yes, I worked so much. You work so that you can live. And maybe you also work so you can give an impact, create stuff, all this stuff. But ultimately, there's no reason whatsoever that you should not be enjoying time with friends, with family, with yourself, with whether it's reading a book, like the same things we talked about to avoid burnout. Make sure that your life is scattered with them. So in this case, I'm doing this improv and absolutely loving it. So that leads me to other things. So as we're thinking, so when you think outside the box, all of a sudden the brainstorm happens and it can be a lot of fun. So now I'm saying this with my nerd hat on because I think you guys, nerd alert, you might know that I love learning and I love systems and all the things. But the alphabet challenge. So years ago, we're going like 9 years ago, I was convinced to sign up to try out something called the core training. So the core training, it's a US company. At the time, I think I was like their only Canadian person, and I called them. They were just like, they've tried me back a few times. It was really not my jam. No offense if you love it, and no offense to them. You guys are killing it, but it just was not my thing. It gave me a lot of anxiety. I didn't like my calls. It was just a different way of doing business. Not bad, not good, just different. And it was not for me. That said, some of the things that they had were exactly for me, and I still use them to this day. So it was a good investment in my time and money. So the first thing was this awesome to-do list. It was a to-do list every day. I use a notebook because I go old school, but to-do list. Um, and it's every single day. So I write all the things down, I check them off. It's my jam. The second thing was an alphabet challenge. I call it an alphabet challenge, but it was an alphabet system. And so when you're looking like when should you reach out to people? Is it sporadic? Is it only like I use Buffini? So with Buffini, and again, love Buffini. I'm a Buffini person through and through. But when you qualify your database, you have your A plus, A, B, C, D. You have to keep requalifying. And the system will remind you to call people with a certain schedule. So I'm not gonna even pretend I know the schedule. It just comes up on the system. So there's a certain time, let's call it, I don't know, 30 days for an A plus and 40 days for an A, whatever. But then what happens is the C's or the D's they're not part of the list, which is obviously problematic. So they did a thing where they're like, okay, there's 52 weeks a year and there's 26 letters in the alphabet. 26 times 2 is 52. And as you go through, you're like, okay, so what do you do? What does that mean? Great, math, fun. So when we look at your alphabet, so I split my database because I have like almost 2,000 people. And I'm sure if you've been in business for a long time, guys like me, you have a lot of people, and some of them should not be on your database anymore. And some of them are on, but should be way further up on the list. And some should just be at the back of the list. Like, so you have to constantly requalify because someone that should have been an A plus 12 years ago, if you've not heard from them at all, then the whole issue here is like, okay, you haven't heard from them at all in 12 years. You've been reaching out, you've been trying. Why are they still an A plus? It doesn't make sense. But as we're requalifying, I'm like, how am I going to requalify this whole list? Where are we going to find the time, right? Because we're talking about a time when we don't have a lot of extra energy or extra time. So what you do is you take the letters and you take the weeks. So I'm on week 3 of this challenge right now. So I'm on the letter C. So I went through all the A's, and I'm using first names. So I went through all the A's, sent them a note or gave them a call or gave them a text. Marked off that I did it and put them in a group called the Alphabet Challenge, June to December. And then as I'm going, I might send an email and I get a bounce back, or I might call and I find out they've bought something. Or I call and they're like, hey, I'm so happy you called. I'm actually looking for a property. That happened actually 2 weeks ago. And the thing is, it's just a little check-in, because when you're trying to do everyone, you're like, you don't want to do a mass email. Like, it's so much more powerful if you do either an individual call, individual email, individual text, right? It says, I thought of you and I wanted to say hi. What I'm also doing is I'm including my letter from the heart. So that's also from the core training. So the letter from the heart, it's a letter just about you. It has nothing to do with business. So it's a little bit, it just humanizes you. You're like, I'm not just a realtor. I'm not just an entrepreneur. I'm Krystal. I'm whatever your name is. And here's a little bit about my life. And so I usually put things about my family or things that we do in the community. And I stopped doing it for a while, but this is making me do it again because I had a spring one and I'm sending it out like regularly, and I can't send a spring one in July. So I had to update it to a summer one. And as I'm sending it out, it's helping me go, oh, like those people, or oh, I talked to these people one time. Why are they a B on my database? So it's going through and just a little, hey, I hope you're having a great summer. Looking forward to staying in touch, blah, blah, blah. Not just clients either. This is also for networking people. This is also for other realtors because that's how our database works. If you've connected with someone and you've tried to support their business or they've tried to support your business or whatever, that is the key. You just want to keep the channels open and let them know that you are thinking of them. And if you do it in this systematic way, technically speaking, everyone's going to hear from you at least twice a year. And if that doesn't sound like enough, think about the fact that most people haven't heard from someone in like a couple years or 10 years or whatever. And so that's one of the things we hear most. We hear, oh, like I haven't heard from my realtor. We bought the house. Or the worst, my in-laws. I love my in-laws, but I asked them like, oh, like who sold you your house like back in the day? And it was back in the day. It's like 40 years ago. And then they just said the brokerage name because their realtor didn't keep in touch. So it's like you could be, hey, who sold your house to you 10 years ago? It could be like, oh, Krystal did, and she keeps in touch and she's like, she's our girl. Or you could be the person that's like, oh, it was Royal LePage, maybe, Remax, maybe, Coldwell Banker, maybe. Like you don't want that, right? Don't want that. Especially with all the effort we put into building relationships. That's not the outcome. When I hear that, I'm like, oh, it's like being called the real estate. When people are like, oh, the real estate is coming. And I'm just like, Krystal? You have to make it fun because, um, yeah, you just do. You just do. And that's kind of why, I think that's why I feel like it's everything together. I'm just really working on elevating the joy and making sure that this job is something I get to do while creating more joy for others versus having burnout kind of rob me and others of joy, right? So, just to recap, we talked about making sure that you avoid burnout, find little times or vacations, or schedule your situation so that you have breaks. You need breaks. You deserve breaks. Um, we're in like this 24/7 life right now. So your phone 24/7, email 24/7. There's programs out there. Like I signed up for this referral program and I was it was recommended to me. I had to apply for it. I had to earn it. I had to show what a great agent I was by showing like my GCI and my how many homes I've sold and how many years I've been and that I'm a broker. This thing was awful, guys. It was you would get a call all hours of the day and night, no matter what. You had to, when you answered it, it was a live call with someone on the other end of the phone, who had just randomly clicked an ad and was diverted to their call center, who then called you. So these were not warm leads. It was just like you had to do it, you had to deal with it. The conversion, not great. And to their credit, I think you only paid one time and then you just paid a referral. Not worth it for me. There's no way to schedule my day with these random, like one happened at like, I don't know, 11:45 p.m. And like I missed calls at like 3 in the morning. And it's too, if you like that, then I support you do you. But I was not a fan because I just found it was really hard to do anything knowing that I didn't have the structure and I had no control over it either, right? So it was really tough. So make sure that you like guard your well-being, we'll call it. Don't let yourself get burned out. And remember, you will do more and do better if you take that time than if you just try to keep going. Um, Make sure that you are always trying to look for opportunities to innovate because I was not on Facebook and therefore I ended up with way more connections in my neighborhood. Like mind blowing. It sounds so simple when I say it now, but it was just how I did it. So it didn't really matter. But yeah, it was a combination of all the things. And then also the people knowing me already really helped. Um, and I was able to support my neighborhood, which was kind of a big deal. Then I'd say um, the alphabet challenge is a big, big deal. And then the improv. Those are not in order. So if anyone's really those four things, not in order, but in order, we have protect your well-being, innovation with the candidate, Google Forms, sponsor a party thing, and then improv, and then the alphabet challenge. So, guys, I am Krystal Lemore Lucier. This is Realtor Life. Thank you so much for listening. We have some really great interviews coming up in the next little while, including Brandon from Shut the Front Door is going to share a little bit about why improv can help in your business. We have my friends from the Miley Group who are going to share a little bit about their Random Act of Kindness event. And it's pretty cool because my husband and I years ago created something called Random Acts of Kindness in London. And they were called rack bags. So random act of kindness bags. And we won like $100 to be able to put towards something. And we ended up each donating and being able to give back the $100 for someone else to do something. But we created these bags that we could hand out if people were on the street. And inside was like, socks and water and hand sanitizer, band-aids. There was, I think, snacks. We just had them in the car. And I mean, in the winter, we'd put like a scarf in there or some mittens. And the goal was that we could kind of give someone something because when you pull up at a light and you don't have money on you and someone's standing there, it just breaks your heart, right? But at the same time, if you can hand them something, it's wonderful. Now, what we noticed was that we were trying to like hand them out and kind of getting it to catch on, and it didn't quite catch on the way we wanted it to. And I had almost forgotten about it until I saw the Miley group doing a rack event. And their tagline is "Show us your rack," which is like "Show us your random act of kindness." But we're going to have them on as well. We also have some great mortgage people, really great people actually coming down for interviews. If you yourself would like to be interviewed on Realtor Life, if you think you have something to share with your colleagues, would love to have you. Just reach out. I'm Krystal Lemore Lucier, also known as your Home Sweet Home 519 Realtor, Krystal Lemore, and I hope you guys have an amazing, amazing rest of your day.